Today we're talking all about using a professional grade cinema camera on paranormal investigations. Stick around. What's going on, everyone? Nick Smith-Koblitz here from Crypto Paranormal Investigations. Great as always to be here with you. I know I haven't been posting as many videos recently, but at the end of the day, I'm a paranormal investigator first and a YouTuber and content creator second. So although you haven't seen me recently, it doesn't mean I'm not working on things off camera, some of which I hope to be able to share with you guys really soon. But in today's video, we're talking all about using digital cinema cameras on paranormal investigations. But before we get into why you might want to do that, I should probably go over what the heck a cinema camera is for anybody who's unfamiliar. Unlike digital mirrorless cameras, DSLRs, or even pro-level camcorders, cinema cameras, on the other hand, are designed for use on much higher level productions. They're designed for filmmaking. Most cinema cameras have larger imaging sensors inside, which means you get much more shallow depth of field and much better dynamic range. That's basically just color rendition if you're unfamiliar. Cinema cameras also give you the ability to mount different lenses depending on your shooting scenario and fine-tune all aspects of your camera's functionality, like iris, shutter speed, white balance, and so forth. Now, lots of companies make cinema cameras. Red, Arri, Blackmagic Design, Sony, Canon. But the camera we're going to be talking about today is this guy, the Sony NEX Fs100. This was actually my first professional camera. I bought it all the way back in 2011 when it launched, and it has served me great for years. As a matter of fact, I liked it so much I bought a second one, and it's actually the camera that's filming me right now. Now, back when the Fs100 launched, it cost a whopping $5,000 for the body alone. It was a huge chunk of change. But the reason we're actually talking about it today in 2021 is the price, because you can get a used Fs100 for anywhere between $600 and $1,200. Now, that is still a lot of money, but just to put it in comparison, the cheapest of Sony's current digital cinema cameras will still run you close to $4,000 for the body alone. No lenses or accessories. Now, I'm going to go over all this thing's specs and features with you guys, but I thought maybe we'd shoot some epic B-roll with these cameras first so I can really show you what they can do. What do you think? Specs and features or epic B-roll? Epic B-roll. Let's do it. So what'd you guys think of the footage? Again, that entire sequence was shot with a pair of Sony NEX Fs100s and Sony native lenses. Personally, I still think the footage looks really good, even for 1080p. But let's talk features. The NEX Fs100 boasts an impressive Super 35mm image sensor, capable of recording Full HD 1920 x 1080 video at up to 60 frames per second, as well as 24 and 30 frame per second recording modes. That big sensor means you get wonderfully shallow depth of field for a digital camera, and almost 12 stops of dynamic range when recording internally. Like any true cinema camera, the Fs100 is an interchangeable lens camera. It comes with Sony's native E-mount that accepts all modern Sony lenses, even those from their mirrorless camera line, or with adapters, you can mount practically any lens from any manufacturer, including cinema lenses or any old vintage photography lenses you might have lying around. Since this is a camera designed for video recording, it means there is no recording limit like on most DSLR or mirrorless cameras, and you can record as long as your media allows. Recording's done to standard or Pro Series SD cards. Internal recording allows for 8-bit 420 images at 28 megabits and 24 megabits per second. Video outputs include RCA jacks and an HDMI port, and if you're using the HDMI port connected to an external recorder, you can export uncompressed 422 images. One really cool feature of this camera is what's called S&Q motion. It allows you to record up to 60 frames per second for slow-mo, or all the way down to 1 frame per second for time-lapse sequences in camera. This is an awesome feature if you're on the go or don't have a lot of time to do a lot of post-production editing. You program the frame rate and the shutter speed, then the camera automatically speeds up or slows down the footage in camera. And if you want the highest quality, you can select 60i or 24p, then speed up or slow down the footage in post. 24p is the lowest frame rate you can get in standard shooting mode, so if time-lapse or hyperlapse is your thing, then the S&Q mode on this camera might be something that you're interested in. The camera features a 3.5-inch touch LCD screen, and it's actually a flip screen as well. So I think this camera is a totally viable option if you need to film yourself for vlog style or other online content. When you bought the camera new, it came with this eyepiece that mounts directly to the LCD screen, which makes this thing really adaptable and easy to use in high glare situations. For audio recording, you get 2 XLR inputs, and if you bought the camera new, it comes with a Sony HCS, some kind of Sony shotgun microphone. And the sound quality isn't too bad. You can see for yourself. This is me talking with my lav mic. Now here's the camera's boom mic. Back to my lav mic. Back to the camera's boom mic. You guys can make up your own mind. Buttons on the camera body allow you to control your microphone sensitivity, frame rate, shutter speed, iris, white balance, peaking, focus assist, and picture profiles. Picture profiles are probably one of the best features of this camera and allow you to fine-tune things like your white balance, gain, and knee point, allowing you to get the most information out of this camera's imaging sensor. Although these cameras are really intended to be operated manually, there is a full auto mode, which gives the camera control over shutter speed, iris, white balance, and all other settings. There's also a manual autofocus switch that can be turned on or off independently, and the Fs100 supports E-mount autofocus lenses with or without internal lens stabilization. Now the camera itself is basically just this little brick. It's a brain covered in buttons. If you bought it new, it came with this plastic side handle as well as this microphone mount / top handle that were intended to allow you to use this camera handheld in run-and-gun situations. But it's really a camera that benefits from being mounted on some kind of rig, like a gimbal, shoulder mount, or even just a tripod. And the body is actually light enough that with the right lens, I can fly this thing on my Ronin with no problems. And the stabilized footage of the Fs100 on a Ronin looks absolutely sweet. The top and bottom of this camera are also covered in different mounting points, giving you really versatile options. As Philip Bloom said, you've got a plethora of holes that you can screw. So why would you want a camera like this on Paranormal Investigations? Standard camcorders work, obviously, but the smaller sensors inside means that the images are much more compressed, and they often perform much poorer under low light conditions. The FS100 is an absolute low light beast. And this is one of the reasons my team selected these cameras for our documentary and investigative work, and we use them extensively on our cases today. We shoot walkthroughs and interviews with these cameras, record our experiments, and even use these cameras for monitoring rooms or areas where visual phenomenon like apparitions or moving objects has been reported. How many times have we seen ghost videos, should I say, and we're looking at some blurry, grainy image of a room? No, those days are done, baby. Now lots of teams are filming their investigations these days for YouTube and other platforms, and I think the FS100 would be a great option for you if you're looking to upgrade from a camcorder or even an older DSLR. That huge sensor just gives you wonderfully shallow depth of field, pretty amazing dynamic range, and just leads to a more professional and cinematic looking image. Overall, the FS100 has been amazing to shoot with over the years. However, there are just a few things that I wish Sony had done differently or I feel are just lacking on. I think the biggest problem with this camera is the 8-bit AVAC codec. It's just not a very robust format, so the footage really doesn't hold up well to lots of layers of color correction or effects added in post. Another big issue with this camera is its lack of built-in ND filters. Sony's been making camcorders with built-in ND filters since the mid-90s. This thing is supposed to be a pro-level digital cinema camera, or at least a professional video camera. What happened there, guys? It's not a huge deal. You can compensate by mounting external ND filters to your lens, but as this is supposed to be a professional level camcorder, I really think they should have been included. The FS100 also lacks any kind of in-body image stabilization, and because of its awkward form factor, it can get kind of tiresome to use handheld for long stretches. So unless you're using a stabilized lens, you're often going to end up with some fairly shaky footage. Again, I really think this is a camera that benefits from some type of rig. Despite its limitations, the features that you get on this thing, like 24 or 60 frames per second recording for slow-mo, with the ability to mount different lenses, makes this thing a really versatile option, especially if you're doing a lot of documentary work or videos for YouTube. Again, this entire video, all the B-roll, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the table shots of the FS100 have been shot on an FS100. Total immersion. So who is this camera for? I think if you're somebody who's been shooting video for a while and you have a basic understanding of camera settings like shutter speed, white balance, gain, and so forth, and you're looking to upgrade from an older camcorder or even an older DSLR or mirrorless camera, then the FS100 might be a great option for you. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this review helpful. Again, this camera really holds a special place in my heart as my first professional camera, and I was really happy I got to share it with you all. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!